Hi, it's Olga Hedman, and today it's ArtVent Day 19, and I have for you this decorative fireplace that you can stack your candies or Christmas treats in. And in all this holiday mess, I lost part of video, but I will walk you through, so hopefully you will not notice missing it. So I will start with assembling this fireplace. It's multi-element chipboard piece from SnipArt, and I will leave you a link in the description box. And in your package you get everything you need and some instructions with pictures that tell you which part goes where, but I will show you everything. So I'm starting with the base. Basically, we have to stack like dimensional rectangle, like small box. So I'm just gluing in those long pieces that will be sides of my box, and then I'm adding those two tiny pieces on the sides. And each time I'm leaving my construction for a few minutes to dry, so it's quite simple process, but it took me a little while before all elements were dry enough to assemble everything together. So our rectangle, our dimensional box is quite ready and sturdy, and when it's dry we can start to stacking in all the walls. I'm starting with the front wall. It's the one with big fireplace hole, and then I'm just going all around wall by wall, and all those spikes you have in your chipboards, they perfectly match with each other. So if something doesn't want to pop in, that means you're doing something wrong. Okay, so when we finish all the walls, we have really nice looking fireplace, and we just need to build the top part. It's quite easy. It's like to have boxes one on top of the other things. When you assemble pieces like that, think about simple shapes. They have to be built from simple shapes, and just sticking them correctly together makes them dimensional piece. So actually it's the lid of my fireplace, and right now I'm building again like half a box with the hole inside. And hole is actually the place when I will put my battery from my firelights. For this piece I use firelights, and the part when I'm mounting the firelights and cutting off the edge of my fireplace is missing, unfortunately, but I just assembled it all together and made like tiny hole in this spot when those two pieces of lid connects together, because we need to build whole box with the hole, and it's one piece, and we assemble second piece on top. So in the joint of those two pieces I left tiny little hole, and I just threw my fairy lights through this hole. And when it was ready I just cover it with the layer of the paint that I will paint all my fireplace. So when I'm ready and when I have this part with the hole inside, this part with the holes, it's the bottom part, because you can see that it match perfectly those spikes that we have on our fireplace. So I just put my lid on top, make sure that everything is nice and straight, and leave it for a dry. So dried out piece looks like this, and you can put in and out the lid. But I went over it with stencil paste and I didn't want too much anymore, so I end up with cutting out those spikes and just mount my lid on the magnets. It will be problem, but it will be problem later on, so I will explain it then. And we have also those small pieces. They're supposed to go directly on the base, and we have some metal piece that we're supposed to put in this front hole. So when everything is ready, I started to build my texture. I want wall-like texture, so I just applied quite a thick layer of gesso, and then I sponged it with the kitchen sponge to have nice texture, like wall-like texture. And I covered a whole fireplace, and this frame that you can see on the screen right now. This frame is a little edge that supposed to go under the lid. When everything was dry, I wanted to have my bottom and my lid in really nice brown matte shades. So I took chalk paint because I think that chalk paints work really good when you want to have opacity with one layer, and I just painted the bottom and the bottom part and the lid. Then I took some brownish chalk paint and I added some 30 knots acrylic paints to it until I had really nice orangey red brick shade. So there is a lot of starting here because each stage have to be nice and smooth before I will go with the next one. So basically I'm just mixing my colors and I have too much paint, so I just take out a little bit of it on this tray. And then I'm mixing in magic powder into my paint. I really like how chalk paints crackle when you mix them with magic powder. And all this mixture that it's right now like reddish paste, I'm just applying through the stencil here and there all over my fireplace. I want all walls to have this nice brick texture, and I'm really careful not to mess out around it on the bottom part when I have my brown paint. And when texture is ready, we'll leave it for a dry. So here I already chopped off the top spikes from my fireplace, and I mounted the frame that I painted previously. I also stick some decorative graphic 45 paper inside. It have really nice Christmas pattern, and I thought that it will match perfectly. So now my lid doesn't fit to my fireplace, so I was super smart and I decided to go with magnets. I just placed like 4 magnets on the bottom part and 4 metal pieces on the top, but I didn't think that it will give me some dimension and I will have really big hole over there between my fireplace and the lid. So I will end up masking it with decorations, so I wasn't worried too much. I covered whole piece, including the white area under the edge with 2 colors of vivid vintage paints. And when I was quite happy with my coverage, I start to wipe them off with baby wipes. As you can see, they wiping off really nicely, leaving really cool looking natural vintage texture. From some parts I had to use water to remove my paint, and here is my solution for the gap. To cover it up, I placed some moss with hot glue directly on the edge, but I was really be careful not to put it on the directly on this edge to not add any more volume. And I needed some base for my garland, so I just twisted 2 pieces of wire and I shaped it in repetitive U shape, and then I just attach it to my lid, and I took my time with those. I'm using hot glue, and my glue, you will see that in a few moments that it's overheating itself, so you might see smoke here and there. When I attached my wire garland at the front, I waited until my glue was dry and it hold this front piece in place, and then I fixed both sides. You don't need to go all over, you can, but I was thinking that my fairy lights are quite short, so I don't want to waste them to go all over. I prefer go twice only on front and have all this glow and shine from lights at front. So when my girland was already nicely stacked, I put some moss over it, and here and there I'm just twisting the moss around the wire. It's quite difficult and tricky task because my glue is really hot and it's really easy to burn yourself, but it's very sticky, so if you know what you're doing, you will do it like no time at all. And you could see the smoke that I was talking about. It was overheating itself, so I have to just plug it in and off now and then to avoid burning my work too much. Okay, so basically whole base of my girland is just this small stick with hot glue all over my wire construction. When I was happy with my girland, I turn on my fairy lights to see exactly where I'm putting the lights, and I just wrap them around my girland, and I'm starting to build it up. I want really fluffy, really rich composition here. So I'm using all my smallest embellishments because they all were really huge and they didn't fit the scale of this piece. And I really wanted something dangling here, so I thought about socks. I just drew the sock shape on pieces of felt and then I stitched them together and added a little bit of hand sew detail, so each sock is a little bit different, and I think that they are all really cute. They are exactly the size that you can fit your finger inside and do like Christmas dance of fingers with socks. Okay, so I'm filling my composition with smaller leaves, and I really wanted those cute little red berries. I really love combination of green leaves and red berries for Christmas. So I used some flower stamens to have those berries. But first I wanted to build all the green layers, so everything I had and it was greenish and fitting Christmas theme, I added over there, and then I hang my socks. Off camera I changed a little bit the placement of the socks, but generally I just stuck them with hot glue and finished off my composition with adding those red berries from flower stamens here and there. And a finished piece, I really love it. I'm really happy with this work. It took so much time to assemble it. But when I look at the final stage, I think it was totally worth it. So on the pictures, you can see that I only added this metal-like part inside. It just painted with black marker. And this part was also with the fairy lights part on the same recording. And I don't know what I did with that. Anyway, I just moved one silk actually from the middle to the side, and that's how the finished fireplace look like. I think that it's really Christmassy and it's really fun and festive, and it will be really good add-on to our Christmas decorations in our house. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for stepping by. Check out my YouTube channel because I have also giveaway going on here on YouTube. I posted a few days ago, so check it out. And see you again tomorrow. Thank you and have a nice and creative evening. Bye bye.